And we are now live, Chairman.
Thank you, Christine. And I have 7 o'clock, so I'll call this meeting of the Township of Clearview Committee of Adjustment to order here on Wednesday, April the 13th. I see that all members are present, so welcome members, and as well as staff and our applicants. I'd like to begin our meeting by recognizing the First Nations, Métis, and Inuit peoples of Canada as traditional stewards and caretakers of the land. We acknowledge that Clearview Township is located within the boundaries of Treaty 18, the traditional lands of the Anishinaabe, the Haudenosaunee, the Teonatani, the Wendat, and is home to many First Nations, Métis, and Inuit peoples as part of an intricate nationhood that reaches across Turtle Island. At this time of truth and reconciliation, we welcome the opportunity to work together towards new understandings and new relationships and ask for guidance in all that we do. The minutes of our meeting of March the 9th have been circulated to members of committee. I would ask, are there any errors or omissions? Seeing none, I'd ask for a motion to approve the minutes as circulated. Moved by Chuck, seconded by Dave. All in favor? And that is carried. I'd ask members of committee if anyone has any disclosures of a pecuniary interest with respect to the 5 applications that we have before us tonight. Seeing none, thank you. Our first application, minor variance file 21A01, property located at 225 Elm Street in Stayner. There has been a request by the applicant to defer this application as they are still working on comments and so on from the Nottawasaga Valley Conservation Authority and other regulatory authorities. Is there any objection to the deferral? Request for deferral, and if not, I'd ask for a motion to defer. Moved by Mr. Burton, seconded by Mr. Arend. All in favor of the request for the deferral? That is carried. Thank you. Our second application is minor variance file 22A02, property located at 7185 3637 Side Road. I would ask the secretary to read the notice, any correspondence received, as well as the recommendation from staff.
The subject application concerns lands municipally known as 7185 3637 Side Road, formerly Nottawasaga and legally described as Concession 7, Part Lot 36 and Reference Plan 51R29199, Part 1. The purpose of the application is to request the approval of the Committee of Adjustment for relief from Section 2.5.2A and Section 3.5.2M of Township of Clearview zoning bylaw to allow a detached accessory dwelling unit to be located 53 meters from the primary dwelling on the subject lands, whereas a maximum of 50 meters is currently permitted. The effect of the application is to permit the construction of an accessory dwelling unit within an existing detached garage on the subject lands. We did not receive any comments related to the application, and we have a recommendation from the Planning Department. Be it resolved that the Committee of Adjustment of the Township of Clearview hereby approves minor variance application 22A02 for relief from the required separation distance between a primary dwelling and an accessory dwelling unit from 50 to 53 meters on the basis that it meets the 4 tests in accordance with the Planning Act and in accordance with the following condition: that the proposed detached accessory dwelling unit be located within the existing detached accessory building, i.e. detached garage, presently located on the subject lands. And that's all I have.
So is the applicant present?
Yes, I'm here. Can you hear me? Yeah.
Yes, I can. Zoom user. Thank you.
Okay. Thanks.
Do you have anything that you would like to add to the application?
No, that's great. Thank you very much.
Any questions of the applicant or staff from members of committee? No? See. Then I would ask for a motion from a member of committee to approve the recommendation. Moved by Dave, seconded by Dan. Any further discussion? Seeing none, I'll call for the vote. All in favor of the recommendation. So it's resolved that the Committee of Adjustment of the Township of Clearview hereby approves minor variance application 21A02 for relief of the required separation distance. There is an appeal period, and you'll be able to communicate with the secretary and move your project forward.
Wonderful. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Good night. Our third application is consent file 22B03. Properties located at 3417 County Road 42 and 6920 Side Road. Christine, if you'd be able to read the notice as well as correspondence and the recommendation, please.
Subject application concerns lands municipally known as 3417 County Road 42 and 692034 Side Road, formerly Nottawasaga, and legally described as Concession 2, South Part Lot 5 and East Part Lot 4. The purpose and effect of the application is to sever one residential lot from the subject lands. Proposed severed lot, 40 meters of frontage on County Road 42, overall 0.65 hectares vacant land. Retained lot, 340 meters of frontage on 34 Side Road, overall 39.6 hectares with dwelling and barns. Comments were received from the County of Simcoe and the Nottawasaga Valley Conservation Authority, having no objection or concern with the application. And we have a recommendation from the Planning Department. Be it resolved that the Committee of Adjustment of the Township of Clearview hereby approves consent 22B03 pertaining to lands at 3417 County Road 42 and 692034 Side Road, Nottawasaga, Clearview, subject to the following conditions. 1, that the applicant meet all the requirements, financial and otherwise, of the municipality, including payment of the fee of $150 for each certificate of consent to be issued. 2, that the applicant provides a description of the land which may be registered under the requirements of the Registry Act or Land Titles Act as applicable. 3, that any mortgage on the property be discharged from any lands being severed and that the solicitor provide an undertaking in writing that this condition will be fulfilled. 4, that the applicant pay a minimum of $6,698.23 per newly created lot to the municipality, or an amount equal to the 5% parkland contribution as required by the Planning Act as a requirement of the approval. Please note that the flat rate number is a minimum as it is adjusted annually in accordance with the Statistics Canada quarterly construction prices statistics based on the 12-month period ending September 30th. 5, that the applicant be required to obtain a hydrogeological impact study completed by a qualified engineer or hydrogeologist, proving that sufficient quality and quantity of water can be sourced on the severed lot, and that a new well will not adversely impact an existing neighboring well. The conclusions of the study and implementation thereof must be to the satisfaction of the township and its consulting engineers. A servicing agreement may be registered on title of the lands, may be a necessary requirement to implement the conclusions of the report. 6, that the applicant successfully obtain a valid entrance permit from the township of Clearview if applicable. And 7, that the applicant successfully meet all conditions and requirements of the County of Simcoe Transportation and Engineering Department as specified in their letter dated April 1st, 2022. And that is all I have.
Thank you, Christine. I see Claire Oster is on this call, join the meeting. Claire, do you have anything that you would like to add to the application that's not part of the planning report?
I do. First of all, thank you for this, for introducing this application from the staff. I don't have much to add, but I would like to request that the committee not include the parkland dedication, condition 4, as a condition. As discussed in the staff report, we used to have 2 properties. Our intention has always been to build on the property that has frontage on County Road 42. Due to an error in registration, the lands had inadvertently merged with our other land that has frontage on 34 Side Road. When we became aware that the lands had merged, we found out that the lands could not be separated into their original configuration of 2 separate farms. and that we could possibly only sever the lands within evening. Although the application does appear to seek the creation of a lot, it's really, we're only asking to recreate a lot within the development rights that previously existed. And Nick further explains that in his report. So technically, being that no new lot is being created and we're requesting to reestablish some development rights, we respectfully ask the committee to not include condition 4.
Duly noted. Nick, do you have any comments with respect to the request and the circumstances surrounding this?
Yeah, nothing in particular. So typically, even though the properties had merged inadvertently, as they are merged in a single property, and the applicant is seeking to while there were two, they are seeking to create a new lot. So as a requirement of the Planning Act, the parkland dedication is typically a requirement of it. So that's why it was included as a condition of the severance included.
Okay. Members of committee, any questions? Any comments? Mr. Burton?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chair. So Nick, so you're saying that this is a provincial guideline that we have to do this, the park, and are we able to waive this, or are we not under provincial guidelines?
So it is a requirement of the Planning Act for the creation of any new lot, any new severance. So it is a requirement to be put in there. I would have to maybe defer to Christine whether it's something that the committee could strike down or not require. But from a planning perspective, from my perspective, it would be a requirement that would need to be followed.
Christine?
So a suggestion is that when we do farm consolidation consent applications, for example, we do sever off those houses surplus to a farm operation, and that is an instance where we do not collect the parkland contribution. So without obtaining some advice, legal planning advice on that, I would presume that committee is probably within your ability to make a decision as to whether we implement that condition or not.
Other members, anyone have any comments or questions? Chuck?
To Nick, do we have any idea when these properties merged? How far back are we going?
Yeah, so they did merge according to the applicant's solicitor. In the letter that was obtained, it was July 2013 is when they had merged. So yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
My assumption is that the owner of these two properties didn't ask for this merging.
To my understanding, no, it was an inadvertent merger, but it would be up to, I defer to the applicants to indicate the circumstance and how they would have merged.
All right, thanks, Nick.
Claire, can you clarify what legal proceeding occurred that merged these lands in 2013?
There was a transfer of land, the farmland that has frontage on Airport Road or County Road 42, transferred into Tom and my name. And then that's when it inadvertently had merged with our home farm, in which we live in now, on Side Road 34.
Okay. Barry?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chair. So I see this happening at the NEC as well, and it's quite common that, people have two separate properties, but as soon as they're put in the same name, then they're automatically merged at the province or at the county, and quite often the landowners are not aware of that as they treat them as two separate properties, and so that but they're not aware that they've become merged, and nobody's made them aware they've become merged.
And that is exactly what happened with us. We had no idea.
So under the circumstances, I will put forth a motion to waive number 4.
All right, so we have our first motion on the floor, and that is made by Member Burton to remove condition number 4. So we'll vote separately on that. Do I have a seconder to remove condition number 4? We have a seconder in Dave. I'd ask for a vote then on the removal of condition 4. All in favor? So that has carried. So condition 4 has been removed. Is there any further discussion on the balance of the report? Mr. Burton?
Yes, I just want to clarify that there's numerous other conditions there, and I want to make sure you're aware that you have to meet those terms of those conditions within 1 year. I want to make sure you're aware of that.
It's
Yes,
2
we
years
are
now.
absolutely-
Sorry, it is under the new legislation, you have 2 years now to remove work through the conditions. But Mr. Burton brings a good point. There's particularly the condition 7 from the County of Simcoe with respect to frontage on the property for future road widening and so on. So you're aware of all the other conditions?
Yes, we certainly are. Thank you.
Any further discussion from committee then? I'd ask for a motion then to move the recommendation of staff as amended by the removal of number 4. Moved by Dan, seconded by Chuck. All in favor? So it's resolved that the Committee of Adjustment, Township of Clearview hereby approves consent 22B03 pertaining to lands at 3417 County Road 42 and 692034 Side Road, Nottawasaga, subject to the approved conditions. There is a appeal period. You'll be able to move forward from there. Thank you for your time, Ms. Oster.
Thank you for your time. Appreciate it. Have a good night.
Thank you. Sorry, I dropped my card. Okay, our next application, consent file 22B04 and 22B05. Properties located at 4296 and 4466 Concession 9 and 11821 County Road 10. Christine?
The subject application concerns lands municipally known as 4296 and 4466 Concession 9 and 11821 County Road 10, formerly Sunnydale, and legally described as Concession 9, Part Lot 17, east side of the road, Part Lot 16, east side of the road, and Reference Plan 51R6317, Part 1, and 51R21874, Part 1. The purpose of the application is to sever a portion of land from 4296 Concession 9 to be added to 4466 Concession 9, and sever a portion of land from 11821 County Road 10 to be added to 4296 Concession 9. Proposed severed parcel 1, 162 meters of frontage on Concession 9, overall 12 hectares vacant land. Retained lot, approximately 788 meters of frontage on Concession 9, overall 30.5 hectares with dwelling and barns. Proposed severed parcel 2, no frontage, overall 11 hectares vacant land. Retained lot, approximately 200 meters on County Road 10, overall 50.7 hectares vacant land. The effect of the application is to facilitate 2 boundary adjustments, which will result in the following. 4296 Concession 9, approximately 788 meters of frontage, overall 41 hectares. 4466 Concession 9, approximately 804 meters of frontage, overall 42 hectares, and 11821 County Road 10, approximately 200 meters of frontage, overall 50 hectares. We did receive comments from the Nottawasaga Valley Conservation Authority and from resident Peter Gortz having no concerns or objection with the application. And we have a recommendation from the Planning Department. Be it resolved that the Committee of Adjustment of the Township of Clearview hereby approves consent 22B04 pertaining to lands at 4296 Concession 9 Sunnydale, subject to the following conditions. 1, that the applicant meet all the requirements, financial and otherwise, of the municipality, including payment of the fee of $150 for each certificate of consent or cancellation certificate to be issued. 2, that the applicant provides a description of the land which may be registered under the requirements of the Registry Act or Land Titles Act as applicable. 3, that any mortgage on the property be discharged from any lands being severed, and that the solicitor provide an undertaking in writing that this condition will be fulfilled. 4, that the property to be severed is conveyed to 4466 Concession 9 Sunnydale, as well as into the same name as the owner of the abutting land to the west, being assessed as roll number 4329-040-003-006801, and that the solicitor provide an undertaking in writing that this condition will be fulfilled, as well as merging the PIN numbers to have only one PIN number for the new parcel. 5, that the township require the applicant solicitor to provide a cancellation certificate as described in Bill 276 to ensure that the severed and receiving parcels merge as one parcel. Further, be it resolved that the Committee of Adjustment of the Township of Clearview hereby approves consent 22B05 pertaining to lands at 11821 County Road 10, subject to the following conditions. 1, that the applicant meet all requirements, financial and otherwise, of the municipality, including payment of the fee of $150 for each certificate of consent or cancellation certificate to be issued. 2, that the applicant provides a description of the land which may be registered under the requirements of the Registry Act or Land Titles Act as applicable. 3, that any mortgage on the property be discharged from any lands being severed, and that the solicitor provide an undertaking in writing that this condition will be fulfilled. 4, that the property to be severed is conveyed to 4296 Concession 9 Sunnydale, as well as into the same name as the owner of the budding land to the south, being assessed as roll number 4329-040-030-68100, and that the solicitor provide an undertaking in writing that this condition will be fulfilled, as well as merging the PIN numbers to have only one PIN number for the new parcel. And 5, that the township require the applicant solicitor to provide a cancellation certificate as described in Bill 276 to ensure that the severed and receiving parcel merge as one parcel. And that is all I have.
That's a lot. Mr. Van Oosten, do you have anything to add to the report or to your application before us? You're muted, sir. If you could unmute yourself. Nothing? Okay. Any comments or questions from members of committee? Mr. Burton?
Once again, I just want the applicant to be aware of the conditions and the terms of those conditions. And they are part of, if we so grant this consent, that all of these conditions apply.
Yes. Okay. All right.
I'm wondering if Mr. Van Oosten is having some trouble with his connection. I can confirm that we did send a copy of the report to Mr. Van Oosten to review those conditions, and we did not receive any feedback with any concerns.
Okay. Any other members of committee have any comments or questions? No? So just procedurally, I'd like to call two separate votes. So the first vote is, or the first motion will be for consent 22B04, the lands at 4296 Concession 9, property being conveyed to 4466 Concession 9. Do I have a motion, or I do, from Dave, seconded by Chuck. Any further questions? All in favor of that proposed application? Opposed, if any? So it's resolved, the Committee of Adjustment Township Clearview hereby approves consent 22B04 pertaining to lands at 4296 Concession 9 Sunnydale, subject to the conditions. And then the second, I'd be looking for a motion then to approve consent 22B05 pertaining to lands at 11821 County Road 10. Chuck, seconder. Dan, any further comments or questions? Seeing none, all in favor? That is carried. So it's resolved, the Committee of Adjustment Township of Clearview approves consent 22B05 pertaining to lands 11821 County Road 10, subject to the conditions. So there is an appeal period, and then your solicitor can begin working on meeting the conditions. They have 2 years to do so. Thank you. Right. And our final application this evening is consent file 2022 B06, property known as 31 Nelson Street, formerly in Creemore. Christine? Christine, hey, you're muted.
Thank you, Sean.
Yep.
The subject application concerns lands municipally known as 31 Nelson Street, Creemore, and legally described as Plan 315, West Part Lot 11. The purpose and effect of the application is to sever one residential lot from the subject lands. Proposed severed lot, 15.24 meters of frontage, overall 766 square meters vacant land. Retained lot, 50.29 meters of frontage, overall 1,760 square meters with dwelling. We did not receive any comments or further correspondence in relation to the application. We have a recommendation from the Planning Department. Be it resolved that the Committee of Adjustment of the Township of Clearview hereby approves consent 22B06 pertaining to lands at 31 Nelson Street, Creemore, subject to the following conditions. One, that the applicant meet all the requirements, financial and otherwise, of the municipality, including payment of the fee of $150 for each certificate of consent to be issued. Two, that the applicant provides a description of the severed and the retained lands, which may be registered under the requirements of the Registry Act or Land Titles Act as applicable. Three, that the applicant pay a minimum of $6,698.23 per newly created lot to the municipality, or an amount equal to the 5% parkland contribution as required by the Planning Act as a requirement of the approval. Please note that the flat rate number is a minimum as it is adjusted annually in accordance with the Statistics Canada quarterly construction price statistics based on the 12-month period ending September 30th. Or that the solicitor provide an undertaking in writing that this condition will be fulfilled, any mortgage on the properties be discharged from any lands being severed. And five, that the applicant be required to bring full municipal services, sewer and sanitary water to the frontage of the proposed residential lot, connect to said municipal services, as well as be responsible for all associated costs. All work to be coordinated with the Township of Clearview Public Works Water Sewer Foreman. And that is all I have.
Thank you very much. I see the applicant, Mr. Rachiopa. Am I even close with that?
Yeah, very good.
Do you have anything you'd like to add to your application?
No.
No?
No.
All right.
Good.
Members of committee, any discussion, any questions of the applicant or the author of the report, Mr. Ainley? Seeing none, I'd ask then for a motion. Motion to approve the recommendation by Dave and seconded by Chuck. Any further discussion? Seeing none, I'll call for the vote then. All in favor of the consent application? And that is carried. So it's recommend the Committee of Adjustment Township of Clearview hereby approves consent 22B06 pertaining to lands at 31 Nelson Street in Creemore, subject to the conditions as detailed in the report. So congratulations, you've got some work to do. You got a couple of years, and
Yep,
there is an
thank you
appeal
very
period
much.
of 20 days. Okay,
Great.
thank you.
Have a good night.
You as well. Well, thank you, staff. New business. Any new business other than talking about the future of our meetings? Any other new business before that? Seeing none, then we've been circulated a report based on a motion from council, a resolution from council that hybrid in-person meetings can begin. I'd like to see what the feeling is of members, and perhaps Christine can give us a bit more detail of what we think we'd see with that hybrid in-person meeting.
Absolutely. So I guess we really have three choices. So one is to stay status quo for now. Our second option is the hybrid option, where they have purchased an OWL camera that could allow people to still come in via Zoom, but we would be present in the council chambers. I see a little bit of difficulty with that option only because there's only myself there to take care of meeting minutes, helping run the meeting, as well as operating that OWL camera. So I see a little bit of challenge there unless we were somehow given staff support. It's a little bit different with council. Sasha, the clerk, also has Kayla, another staff member that assists with those meetings. So I see a little bit of trouble with possibly doing that route. And then our other option is to be fully back in. And then there would be requirements. So they would be installing plexiglass between our chairs at the council table. And then we would have to arrange to have the public that's coming in be distanced apart. So, you know, applicants could come in and they could sit together, and then we would just space them out from there. What we can't necessarily predict is how many would show up. And while I don't believe we don't often get a huge audience at Committee of Adjustment, we may have to look at maybe limiting the number of applications so that we don't run into an issue, you know, with having too many in the chambers based on current requirements. I mean, those are fluid right now. They could be changing in the next week or two again, and we can be fluid with that as well. So those are sort of our options, and I'm happy for your feedback, and I'm, you know, I can be supportive of what you'd like to do moving forward.
So has the clerk determined a number for the chambers that's applicable? Like how many we have there?
I don't think she hasn't told me a number. I think she said today when we spoke, it was about 12 would maybe be the max, I think, or would be pushing it in the public seating area to be able to successfully do 6 feet apart. And then it's still masking as well. The requirement is that they would have to mask, do their screening as before they walk in, and committee, we would also have to keep our masks on until it's time to speak.
Okay, Chuck?
So 2 statements and 1 question. I've had very little success in my other endeavors with hybrid Zoom meetings, only because there's only 1 microphone that Zoom carries. So unless all of us only speak one at a time and in absolute silence, it is unintelligible on the computer side for whoever's listening. In some of the meetings in the recent past that I've had. Second, the question I had is, if the provincial mask mandates are gone, I understand the screening part, but not the masking part.
So the township is still following the recommendations from the health unit, and Dr. Gardner is still encouraging to mask. And so that is the direction. So right now, staff in the building, we must wear masks when we're up and about. When we're at our desks, we're not required, but when we're up and engaging with the public and we're walking around the building, we must wear our masks. And it's still a requirement that we ask the public when they're coming in to wear one as well.
All right, thank you. I'm done.
Barry? Barry, did you ask to speak?
Oh, yes, sorry. I was
That's okay.
going to. I didn't think I'd put my card up yet, but
Yeah.
anyways, thank you. You were reading my mind, Sean.
We're
my-
symbiotic, Barry.
Yeah. My my comment would be, let's leave it as it is, because I think for now, I think there's going to be changes, and especially a lot of people still aren't comfortable meeting in person. And I think until the emergency, the state of emergency is lifted, I think we should just keep it as status quo, do our Zoom meetings. And because I still believe that we may see some changes as COVID numbers are starting to climb. You start watching the numbers, you start talking to people, numbers are climbing. I know more people now than ever who have got COVID. So I would say let's just stick to what we got for now while the state of emergency is still there.
All right, Dave?
I would love to get in person again, but then there's the logical common sense, which says that just as Barry had mentioned, COVID isn't gone away, and it may not go away in the foreseeable future, as sad as that statement is. So I have no objections to staying as we are and trying to keep not only ourselves safe, but anybody who else would show up at a meeting or something like that. So I'm all for status quo as we are right now.
All right, Dan, do you have any comments?
Yeah, I do. I prefer doing the Zoom meetings just because we don't have to travel at that point. We can do everything, from home. We've seen Barry at his cottage doing the Zoom meetings. It allows us to be in multiple different areas, and we don't have to go racing off to Stainer to do it. And to me, the more times that we're off the road, the better we are. I would prefer to have these meetings
Right.
Zoomed for forever, in my opinion.
That's interesting, Dan, because I've had some feedback from some of our consultants that we deal with regularly, and that's what they're hoping for. So, for example, Christine Loft, last month's meeting, she attended 2 Committee of Adjustment meetings the same evening, and that was only possible because we were doing it via Zoom, and as well as the other municipality. And so for some, it makes business easier, and it's something to maybe have a broader conversation about and how we can accommodate both, because it's, the human connection, I miss that too. I certainly miss seeing all of you in the council chambers and, us meeting that way, but there's advantages to both, I think.
Yep. Dave?
Yeah, I agree with everything that's been said, including Dan's about the travel and so on and so forth. And again, one of the things that I guess I miss about the in-person is sometimes body language plays a big role, and it's hard to get any sense of whether you're being told a tale or whether you're getting what you perceive to be as the truth. And we had a case of that. I'm not going to be public about it, but approximately September, October, August of last year, where it would have been nice to see some body language with some of the comments that were made. Anyways, having said that, I'm still all in favor of carrying on as we are right now.
Yeah. You follow up, Chuck?
Yeah, based on my previous comments, I'm really only dead set against a hybrid meeting. One way or the other, either we meet back in person or Zoom are the only 2 real ways that this works well.
Okay. I miss the in-person meetings. I miss the interaction. I think sometimes this format doesn't allow us to truly express or dig deep into some of the files. But I think we should. I agree that we'll continue this. We should continue this for the next month or 2, and then address it. I don't think we need to address it every other meeting, but I'd probably recommend that 90 days from now we talk about it again, if everyone's in agreement to that, and Christine can put that on the agenda for July.
Absolutely. Yeah, I agree. Because again, I think it'll be a fluid situation. And I think a key component too is that, under the Planning Act, we have to be able to accommodate the public and have them involved in our meetings. And so what is the best way to do that at this point with certain restrictions, and, limiting numbers in the council chambers isn't accommodating that. And so I think that's problematic. So for now, I think this is good. And as Barry suggested, maybe we can hope that those emergency measures will be completely lifted and we can all get back into the building.
Yep. Did you have a final comment, Barry?
No, I think I said it first time around. I think we're good.
Okay. I don't think that needs a motion or anything, Christine.
No, I can just take that back to clerk's department and advise of our decision.
Okay. Any other new business, gentlemen? No, seeing none. So any applications for May?
Yes, we have a few for May.
Excellent. So tentatively scheduled for Wednesday, May the 11th. So keep your calendars free wherever you may be. And I'll ask for a motion to adjourn. Chuck, thank you very much.